And we're heading into the restorative pose. Feel free to grab a sip of water. Feel free to start layering up or dimming the lights or doing any of the things that will help make this as restorative as possible. This is the same pose that we've done the past 2 weeks. It is my new favorite pose. You will need a bolster. Not everyone has bolsters, so what I like to do is use 2 blocks in a straight line and then 2 pretty thick, generous blankets to make them nice and cushy. And then the reason we need a strap is I'm going to turn, we're going to be facing each other, but this part is hard to see. I've been giving the option to reach back for the bottom foot, and it really adds a lot to the pose. And so I want everyone to be able to try that without any strain. So the strap is going to go around the bottom foot, and I'll talk you through this in a moment, but I just want you to see it so that wherever the knee bend is, you can ever so gently make a connection between the hand and the foot. So set up your bolster to your right hand side. Sit in the middle of your blanket and make sure your strap is nearby. Oh, okay. Sit the hips to the right of the heels and then bring the right thigh up to meet the base of your prop. So the right knee should be pointed forward ahead of you. And then stagger the legs, but make sure the left knee feels really supported here. So it might even be good to use your extra blanket underneath you to support that knee so it doesn't feel like there's any rotation in that knee. That's really important. And before we go anywhere, let's set up the strap. So bring the strap around the left foot. I like it just above the knuckles at the base of my toes, so it's on like the main body of my foot but towards the end. And then bring the strap behind you so it'll be easy to grab. Let it go all the way up the side of the bolster, and then you'll be able to grab it no matter where it is. So start to play with bringing the left heel in towards the left glute and pointing the left knee towards the opposite end of the mat. Gently start to rotate away from that leg and notice any sensation of the front of the left hip gently opening. Start to push the outer right leg down into the earth and notice how that helps you sit a little higher. Take a couple of breaths and don't forget that idea of restricting the expansion, which is a little easier in a twist because the twist naturally is restricting that expansion. Take a couple of the breaths that we've practiced. And then keeping that little bit of work in the right leg, start to drape the body onto the bolster and notice how the body is somewhat supported by the effort of the right leg. You can feel the connection of the right hip up into the obliques, the side core on the right side of the body. Bring the right ear to the mat, even if you're more flexible and you want to twist, it's just a little gentler. Start to wiggle around so the angle of the legs is comfortable and naturally adjusts, and then figure out what you want to do with your arms. You can hug your bolster or let them be kind of like goalposts. The right arm is going to be occupied in a second, but we'll start in this more symmetrical arm position. And play with restricting the expansion on the inhale. And notice how that sends the activity of this pose further down into the right hip. You might feel it more in the low back. Then eventually play with reaching the right hand towards the right foot, towards the left foot. And then you should find your strap. Just grab the strap wherever it is and inch your fingers down the strap just so that there's a little bit of tension. You don't want to force your left leg into a deep stretch. You just want to give it a little extra space. And then let the breath interact with the core, but also with whatever's happening in the left leg. Remember, our breath and our core both directly relate to the psoas, and this is an amazing opener for that left psoas. So see if you can play with the breath and the core to enhance the experience of the psoas here. And if that exploration is really fun and interesting, you're welcome to keep exploring it, but you're also welcome to start doing less and less. I'll take a couple more breaths. And to exit the pose, first release the strap. Bring the right arm underneath you and just take a moment at that starting position. And then gently glide the hands back so they're further back than the shoulders, and start to spring into the arms to gently rise up. Extend the legs in front of you and pause for a moment at center and just be aware of that right side of the body. There's a lot of opening in that bottom half of the right spiral line. And just for fun, you can allow the arms to float up it can help you experience the right and left sides of the body in a different way. If the body's craving a little bit of wiggling, be free to do that. You can also melt over the legs or do anything that your body's asking for. And then we'll prepare for the other side. So you can take your bolster over to the left. Stagger the legs so the feet are over on the right side. And every time I do this, my ear gets sensitive by being pressed on the blocks, so I'm actually doing another fold in my blanket. Feel free to try that. Maybe I have sensitive ears, I don't know. If you use this strap, place it on the knuckles at the base of the toes on the right foot, and then bring the strap alongside the bolster so that it's really easy to get to. And then take a moment to play with bringing the heel towards the glute, the right heel towards the right glute. You don't want that to be forceful, but just notice what happens in the front of the right hip up into the core as you do that. I find it more comfortable to point my right knee towards the short edge of the mat on the right hand side, almost like it's in line with your bolster, and then keep the left thigh perpendicular. Start to push the outside of the left leg down so the left leg can strengthen and support you. Notice a sense of space up into the left hip and all the way up that left side of the body. And gently start to come into the twist, but keep that strength, right? Because that's going to keep everything integrated as it lengthens. So it's an eccentric contraction of the muscles on the left side of the body. And then as you feel ready, you can start to drape the body down, bringing left ear to the bolster and pausing to figure out the arms. You can hug your bolster, do whatever's supportive. Palms face down sometimes feels nice. And give yourself permission to adjust the placement of the pelvis and the placement of the side body so that this feels really relaxed. You could fall asleep here and in 3 hours wake up and not have anything feel weird in your body. And then start to use your breath flow. And notice how the consciousness that you've brought to your breath over this whole class and that dance between the breath and the core, notice how that transforms your experience in this pose. And let it allow that left side of the body to feel safe and supported so that it can open any amount that's useful and nourishing to the body. Eventually, you can allow yourself to reach that back arm, the left arm, down towards the foot until it finds the strap, and then you don't want to force the foot to do anything, but I find it nice to just gently walk my hand on the strap so there's that little bit of like bow stringing action that creates just a little space in the right psoas. And then as you continue with the breath, notice how the breath interacts with the right psoas. And always give yourself permission to adjust and adapt and explore. And keep exploring for as long as you want Also give yourself permission to relax. And it's valuable to stay conscious. And so you can just observe the breath. Keep the mouth closed, gentle pressure between tongue and roof of mouth, and swallow. And we'll just take a couple more breaths. And gently release the strap and let the right leg start to glide open. Eventually bring the hands, first just forearms alongside the bolster, relaxing for a moment, and then glide the palms back and start to push into the pinky side of the hand, climbing your way back up. Move the strap off to the side and allow the legs to extend. And you're welcome to stay at neutral, just observing the body, or make some little circles, fold forward, extend backward, anything that the body is craving in this moment. Our next adventure is Savasana, and you can set up Savasana however you want. I'm going to give one option for a little gentle inversion in Savasana just because we've got this stack of blankets and blocks and our strap. So either ignore me and go into normal Savasana, or if you would like to get the benefits of an inversion here, you'll bring the calves up to the top of actually before you do that, place the strap around just the top blanket and make the loop big enough that you'll be able to fit your legs through. And then do what I was saying before, put the calves there and then tighten your strap. And this is really essential because it's going to allow the legs to relax completely and not roll off the sides of the bolster. And once you've got that situated, then you can lie back into your normal Shavasana, and then just scooch in towards the props enough that the legs feel really supported. You definitely want to feel like you can relax completely and there's no gripping. And take your time, treat yourself. And take a moment to find your neutral spine. Wiggle a little bit, let the hips come left and right, let the spine snake, let the back of the neck lengthen, and adjust the arms to a place that feels spacious yet very connected and integrated. If the legs are on the prop, make sure you can relax the legs completely, which might feel like they're subtly externally rotating, which is nice and fine. And we will relax completely, but take a moment first to just breathe in the way that we've been practicing. And then do less and less and less, which actually takes more focus, more subtle, deep focus. And notice if that ability to still interact with the breath and still ever so gently allow the core to play like 0.1% of your strength. Notice if that helps you feel beyond the breath. It's like you can start to access the experience of prana that lies in the background of each breath. And as we relax completely and let go of any control of breath or core, try to relax into that awareness of the prana flowing through you. It's sort of like when you're in nature and you see a really beautiful flower or tree and it's so mesmerizing. It's almost like you can see beyond its physical form, like it's just radiating energy. You're feeling the prana of that living expression. And you have that too. And so we can rest here, just immersed in our radiant selves for the next several minutes. Begin to interact with your breath and your core once again, gently, consciously. And notice how that interaction makes it more inviting to be in the body and bring gentle movement and start to head towards seated in whatever manner you enjoy, taking your time and taking the scenic route. And we'll eventually meet in our meditation seat, but please, no rushing. Like at the pool, like you can't run to your meditation seat. The lifeguard's gonna yell at you. And as you arrive, I invite you to notice the physical results of your practice. Without any judgment. It might take time to understand intra-abdominal breathing, but my experience is feel very supported and free of tension. So as you prepare for meditation, notice any sense of the physical body being ready, the seat feeling strong yet effortless, the spine feeling light and free. You can close the eyes or find a gaze point. Let your awareness ride effortlessly on the breath. We literally used the breath to interact with the center of our physical body. And so notice if that pathway is effortless for you to use the breath to feel inside and let all the awareness drop down into the heart or the navel. It's up to you. And let that area expand in all directions. And at this point, let go of any effort, any control, any core. You don't have to do any of that. Just let the breath be free and natural, and let your awareness flow down to heart or navel. And begin listening for or repeating the natural breath mantra, Hum Sa. And just like working with the deep core allowed superficial tightness to evaporate, let working with this deep mantra, let the tightness of the mind, the emotions melt away. Feel how this deep reservoir of support lets all of those superficial things, though they're important and real, let them go and dive into the vastness that's available to you and is you. Thank you all for practicing. Hope you feel supported. Namaste.